social media, all it takes nowadays to spark up an online fight is to merely have an opinion. One opinion will cause many to spiral into a pit hole of anger where no one dialogues, only insults the person who has the unpopular or even the popular opinion regarding the latest trends in comic books, movies, or pulp culture. It makes sense given the circumstance. After all, acting tough behind the protective wall of the black mirror we all own and use on a daily basis makes it easy for anyone to jump right into a tirade of insults and threats. Again, just for having an opinion that they may disagree with. I decided to go against that notion. I've decided to start a video series where we discuss the hot topic issues within the comic book industry and pulp culture and provide you with another perspective. One of logic, reason, with just plain old dialogue between two people who have different opinions. My co-host and I will discuss the pop culture topics at hand in a fun, engaging, and respectable manner. So, without further ado, let's talk about it.
A candy-colored clown they call the Sandman tiptoes to my room every night just to sprinkle stardust and to whisper, go to sleep, everything is all right. I close my eyes, then I drift away into the magic night. I softly say a silent prayer, like dreamers do. Then I fall asleep to dream my dreams of you. In dreams I walk with you. In dreams I talk to you. In dreams you're mine all the time with you together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Julius Freeman, and with me, as always, is
Kyle.
The 8 people who were here. You got a treat because I'm pretty sure YouTube's gonna flag this episode because of that clip. But that was a clip from a movie called Blue Velvet, directed by David Lynch, who we lost. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. He's no longer with us. He passed away, sadly. But the good thing is that he left us a body of work that we could always, remember him by forever or until the end of time. That clip was part of the movie because I hadn't seen Blue Velvet at all. It was one of the only Lynch movies that I hadn't seen yet until recently, and if like that movie really like messed with my head. that scene there was like one of the weirdest ones from throughout the whole movie, and the weird in the good way. That's what I liked about David Lynch's work, is that he was able to somehow make you feel really uncomfortable while at the same time mesmerized, if that makes sense. That's the kind of filmmaker he was.
In a trance almost.
Yeah. Like you couldn't help. It was almost like watching a car accident happen in real time. You want to look away because of the carnage that may ensue, but you can't look away.
You just have to look.
Yeah, you just have to look. And David Lynch was that kind of director. Is that like there's a lot of scenes, and specifically in this movie, where you're like this scene right here was one of them where you're like, oh, dude, what? Like, because you don't have the context, Kyle. So
I've never seen it. So
yeah. So I don't want to ruin it for you. But for those who have seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, spoiler. But the context of the scene is just so thick. Like not the context of the scene, but the when you have the context that leads up to this scene, the level of uncomfortableness, if that's even the word, I don't know if it is, and
Sure, why not?
and dread and dread that you feel, because you know how it cuts away to that group watching the guy perform or lip sync that song. Like when you know where they came from and you see this scene, you're just like, oh my god, dude. And again, you're left feeling a duality of sorts where you're both feeling like, wow, what a great looking scene, what a very beautiful scene, right? But Dennis Hopper's character, the one who was, watching him all like, very like intensely,
Yeah.
that's the only moment in the movie where you see his soft side. He's the villain in the movie.
Oh, okay.
So that was like the only glimpse of like, I guess,
Humanity.
that we see in the movie. And if you see in the lab, it cuts to him 3 times. The first time he's very into it, and the second time he kind of blinks a little bit, and the third time he like just like snaps out of it because that evil part of him kicks back in, going, "No, no, this is beautiful." And that's why it ends with him stopping the tape and the guy lip syncing, kind of looking concerned, like, "Oh, he's back to his old self." But if you guys have not seen Blue Velvet, it's not for the weak of heart, but it's a brilliant film, and I just wanted to show that clip as a nice tribute to David Lynch. But other than that, I mean, what a week! What a week,
Yeah.
Kyle. I mean,
What a week.
so much going on. TikTok is about to go RIP on Sunday if no one buys it for $300 billion. Apparently, that's how much.
$1 billion.
That's how much
With
they
a
want for
B?
it. With a B. Or yeah, I
Wow.
think it's either 300 billion or 3 billion. I can't remember.
That's
But
quite a spread.
yeah.
300 versus 3 billion.
Yeah, so TikTok is about to go bye-bye this Sunday unless someone comes in, sweeps in and buys it. And President Trump is going to be inaugurated on Monday, and
Yeah.
2025 continues to be 2025. But
Yeah.
the biggest news in the comic book world, anyway, let's shrink it back down.
You didn't want to ask about my week and what I got? I mean,
I'll
like, come
get there.
on.
I'll get there.
All right, fine.
The topic of tonight's show is the Chapter 11 filing of the Diamond Distribution Company,
Yeah.
and what it pretty much sent shockwaves throughout the industry, and people are now wondering, what does this mean? How is this going to change, or how is this going to affect the shop owners, and not just big publishers but small publishers who rely on Diamond to get their books out to the comic shops, and not just the small press publishers but also indie creators like myself who, if I do have enough money and I do have enough copies, I can get into Diamond, but I gotta play ball. I gotta pay to play, in other words.
Gotta get them the monies.
Yeah, so what does that mean? What does that entail? But we'll discuss that further. But before we do that, Kyle, how was your week? What did you pick up?
Oh, well, it was pretty good. This news, was one of the ones that was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to affect me getting my books every single week.
Right.
That's going to be a little hard to get. But in terms of the books that I did pick up, I was searching online and this guy was selling a bunch of books for basically $1. And so I picked up
nice.
a couple of books for $1 that they're not like really rare books or anything like that. They're like, I think this one is maybe worth like $10 maybe,
Okay.
So it's like it's a nice little bump for $1. This is Green Lantern number 39, the first appearance of Larfleeze and the Orange Lanterns.
Nice.
So this is during Jeff Johns' run where he's going and introducing all the different colors of the Green Lantern mythos.
Right.
And so this is the first appearance of this color and this main character in it.
Very nice.
So that was pretty cool to get that. the next one, which was this is not. I don't believe this is his first appearance, but this is his first solo series. This is the U.S. Agent.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
nice. Oh, dude, cool.
yeah, you know that when that was the replacement Captain America
Yeah,
that he was
yeah,
on the they did him on the Captain America Winter Soldier TV show.
yeah. Let's not talk about that crappy show.
Yeah, well, I just figured that it's for a buck, and I know that he's going to be in the next Thunderbolts movie, which I don't know how that's going to be either. But it's, I thought for $1, hey, I'll grab it. And then this one I picked up at my local comic book shop for $8. It's a signed Green Lantern Rebirth #1, one of the
Oh,
first Jessica Cruz,
oh, wow.
signed
Signed
by
by Ethan Van
Ethan Van
Sciver. Very
Sciver,
nice.
and numbered with the
Wow,
authenticity.
look at that. Very cool
So
pickup there. Very
yeah,
nice.
not necessarily high value pickups like some of my previous ones, but not there's
Hey,
something.
it's something. Yeah, exactly. It's something. I can't fault you there.
Yeah,
So that's cool. I had a cut back on the spending, so I really didn't pick up anything new other than
yeah.
just what I have. Ben says T-Bolts is the only Marvel movie I'm looking forward to right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to any Marvel movies right now.
Not even like Fantastic Four and the Doomsday and all of them.
No, no, no. I think the only one I'm looking forward to is probably James Gunn's Superman. That's the only one I'm really not excited about. Just like, okay, I'll watch this one. I think
Yeah,
it deserves a watch in the theater because I love Superman and the character
yeah,
itself, and B, James Gunn hasn't missed yet. People did
yeah.
bash Guardians 3, and Guardians 2 was not really received well, but I still enjoyed it. And these kind of movies should be enjoyable. They don't, not every movie can be a Godfather, right? Not every movie
Right.
can be a Stanley Kubrick or a David Lynch movie for that matter. Some of these movies should be fun and it should remain that way. And so far, James Gunn has not let me down yet in terms of being entertained by his movies. Suicide Squad 2 I love that movie. That one was like a pleasant surprise. I was not expecting that kind
I
of movie when I watched Suicide Squad Part 2.
I didn't even watch Squad Part 1 because I've heard how bad it was that I'm like, I'll just not watch it. And then Part 2 came out on one of the streaming services for free. And I'm like, all right, I'll watch that one. And then that was actually fairly decent. I liked that
But
one.
part one was okay. It did its job. It's just you could tell there was a lot of studio meddling in that one, and a lot of things that the director, oh, I forgot his name, um, wanted to do couldn't do because he couldn't get the actors that he really wanted to be in the movie. I think we discussed this at work where I revealed to you that Tom Hardy wanted to be in that one. He was supposed to play Boomerang, but
Oh,
he got
yeah.
held up in the Mad Max movie that he did. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where I hope it's good. James Gunn can't miss. Go, yeah, yep. Peacemaker, his tweets. Yeah, yeah, I can't forget about those tweets. Um, but that's great that you got those books. I mean, I kind of like the U.S. Agent one. That was a pretty cool cover. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that one. That one does have, yeah, it's cool. That's the kind of cover where you're like, wait, what's this? This is not Captain
Yeah.
America. And now you want to pick it up and want to see what it's all about.
Death looms on the road
During
to
the time
temptation.
when comic books actually sold, and
Yeah. How
now,
about that?
yeah, and now we live in a time where comic books don't really sell as much because they're not selling. Our LCS that we go to, they had the Rogue,
Oh, yeah. Rogue
what's it called?
Savage Land.
Savage Land. Like they had like 6, 7 like different variant covers taking up the shelves, and I couldn't help but ask myself why. What is it about Rogue that Marvel thinks is going to sell like hotcakes?
She looks good.
Maybe those in the chat can enlighten me, but I just couldn't make couldn't wrap my head around it, and I didn't have the time to research to find out exactly why Marvel decided to push this specific character for this specific. I guess it's an event. I'm assuming it's an event, or
I think it's just a series.
well, whatever it was. They went all out for
It's,
this series. But the biggest, let's talk about the biggest, the biggest news that dropped this week, other than Neil Gaiman being a depraved asshole.
yeah.
Um, Diamond Distribution filed for Chapter 11. Now, I know a little bit about bankruptcy laws. I know that Chapter 7 is the one where once you file
It's
that
like,
one, it's over.
it's over.
You're
We're done.
You gotta
Get rid
you
of
gotta
everything.
yeah, you gotta sell off all your assets. You gotta pay off your debtors and just wipe your slate clean. However, Chapter 11 is a better option in the case that you do see the light at the end of this, tunnel that you may, in this dark tunnel you're in.
Yeah.
You just got to rearrange some things and, get your finances in order for you to get out of this dark tunnel. And I think it's a great, it's one of the best things about this country that I love is that we have the option not to go completely broke or go into full on debt, that we have almost like a lifesaver,
Safeguard.
the safeguard to not completely drown in debt. And we have this way out where we can figure something out, and the government can help us, hey, okay, well, here's what you need to do, here's what we'll do for you. And it's great. I think it's one of the best things about America. That's why whenever people say, well, he filed for bankruptcy, we'll say, yeah, but which one?
Right.
If it was Chapter
Yeah.
7, okay. But if it's Chapter 11, hey, you know what? That's a good thing. That means there's still some life in it. So that's pretty much what Chapter 11 is in a nutshell. I'm not
It
an
basically
expert.
basically puts a pause on all the debts
Right.
that are coming in, so that it gives them time to, like you said, reorganize, refinance, gain some new capital,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
restart almost.
So you went to the shop on Wednesday, Kyle.
Yes.
Did you ask the employees there what that means for them, what it means for their store? What will change? Will it be something that's going to be scary for them, or what is this? I know for a fact that Marvel and DC and Image they haven't been with, I think Image was kind of 50-50, but I think they went completely exclusive to Lunar about a year ago. And then a few years back, Marvel jumped ship. They went to Penguin, and DC, I think, went to Lunar as well, if I'm not mistaken.
DC's at Lunar, and
Okay.
Penguin is Marvel.
So they've been out of the game for a while. But that means that Diamond lost a huge financial,
revenue.
A stream of revenue.
Yeah.
When they lost those three. Now, I know Image is not at the same level as Marvel and DC. However, Image is still, it's up there. They're number 3. That means something still.
Yeah.
So
number 3 is better than no 3.
Yeah, exactly. and to lose all 3 of them, that must have been a huge hole that they had to fill, that they probably couldn't fill, and that's what led to perhaps the Chapter 11. But what did they say? What did they tell you when you went?
So I asked my local comic shop how they're doing with all of it, and they said that because Marvel and DC is mainly by Lunar and Penguin, the only books that really are going to be affected are the independent books, stuff like Titan, which was for Conan the Barbarian, some other
so Titan books.
Books. Benjamin just says that Dark Horse left Diamond. However, from what they said at the shop, they said that Diamond was still doing Dark Horse. So maybe it's not completely left Diamond yet, or I don't know. But they said they were still getting Dark Horse stuff from Diamond. And some other small publishing stuff. And so they said that they're not going to see any real problems per se, besides those titles and stuff, which I'm not looking forward to because I like Conan the Barbarian. So I'm assuming that's going to expect some delays for that.
And I was looking forward to the new artist that's going to jump on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Jason Aaron, an artist by the name of Juan Ferreira. Apologies. Ferreira, yeah. Well, apologies to you, Juan, if you ever do come across this channel. Um, I'm hoping that IDW can still hang on, for dear life, because I want to see. I actually want to read. I want to check those books out because of
I mean,
his
the
artwork.
only thing that they have is
Yeah,
Turtles.
yeah,
So
of course,
I'm
of course.
assuming one of them, the other distributors, is going to pick them up because they would want Turtles, because at least that is some
That's
money
something,
coming in.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Turtles is a tried and true at this point. You can't really fail with Turtles unless you totally mess it up, which in a lot of ways IDW has in a lot of ways
Yeah.
in this past year. But hopefully Jason Aaron has been doing some good work. I have not read it yet. I'm waiting for the new artist
It's
to jump on. Then I'm going to start checking it out because I'm a fan of
yeah.
his work.
I think you should, because right now it's been kind of whatever.
Yeah.
I've been reading it, and it's not like it's necessarily bad, but it's also not necessarily great either.
Oh,
I'm not recommending it to anybody. I'm not. It's just
that's the
I,
worst
it,
you can. You guys, that's the worst you can say about a book.
yeah, I know. It's
Like it's just all right, whatever.
it's okay. It's meh.
Yeah, right,
So,
right.
but yeah, in terms of the other, like with Diamond though, it seems like they did get a bunch of funding. I think that from what the comic shop owner said is that they got like 300, 400 million dollars pumped into them. They're
Wow.
like,
By who? How?
I don't know.
A
I
loan?
don't know.
Hmm.
Somehow they got that
Interesting.
money in, so that they're gonna try to, I guess, re-upstart everything. But I was, listening to
Hmm.
other channels and stuff describing what was happening,
Yeah.
and basically, from what I could gather, was the gist of why Diamond was sort of falling was because Diamond basically just solely relied on the fact that they were the monopoly for so long,
Yeah.
so that when everybody started splitting from them, they just didn't know what to do, and they couldn't figure out.
Pretty
and,
much.
and
That's why
so then
that's why
they,
competition is important. That's why
yeah,
competition is important. Historically speaking, monopolies have always failed for that very reason because
yeah,
it's great to be the only game in town, but at some point you get a bit too comfortable,
yeah,
and customer service suffers from that. And from what I heard from other videos, like just like you, I heard other channels and people who actually worked at comic shop. Some people say Diamond was great. Other vendors have said they're terrible, they're a nightmare to work with, they have terrible customer service.
yeah,
And yeah, when you're the only game in town, you tend to tell the customer, well, who else are you gonna go with? Huh?
right,
Deal with it. And so
yeah,
when someone else comes along, I'm gonna go over here because fuck these guys. They're new. They may not have everything set in place or set in motion, but I'm gonna give them my business anyway because maybe if they grow or when they grow, they're gonna take care of me because I was one of their first customers.
yeah,
And that's always the death nail for any monopoly of any sort. And that's historically speaking, with the exception of Theodore Roosevelt's presidency, because he was the one who actually busted the trusts during his time when there was
mhm,
nothing but big conglomerate. I mean, in their time,
right,
uh, their version of conglomerated, corporations. That was the only time in history where the president actually said, no, no, can't have this, and he broke it up, and now everyone had a fair shot at running a certain kind of business. Um, so, hey, that's what happens. They could have. I think also what played a factor is COVID,
oh yeah, I'm
and
sure
yeah,
that
the
too.
part of the exclusive deal that Diamond had with COVID. I mean, with COVID, that Diamond had with the bigger publishers like Marvel and DC. I don't know about Image or Dark Horse or any other the smaller publishers, but it was pretty much we're. It was them saying we'll be exclusive to you, but you always have to deliver the books
Right.
no matter what.
Even
So
if they're late or anything like that, they still need to come.
they still have to deliver the books to the shops and to customers, right? And so when the shutdown happened, of course, we all got shut down, but not it wasn't completely shut down. It just slowed down to like the first year, and
Yeah.
things were still moving. Restaurants were still kind of open. Hospitals still working, police precincts, all that stuff. It wasn't a complete shutdown. So they shut down apparently and didn't deliver. And so that Marvel and DC used that as an
They
excuse
jumped
to be
on
like,
that.
yeah, they were like, well, okay, well, since technically you didn't deliver the books, well, I guess we're just gonna have to take our business elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what hurt them. And again, that's what led to a big hole in their revenue. But now I have to ask, do you feel bad? Do you guys feel bad about this? Are you guys nervous about this? Is this like a continuation of the deterioration of our industry, of our culture in a lot of ways? Because with the advent of not social media, but crowdfunding, where now you get the books directly from the person creating their own books, do we really need Diamond? Should we go to micro distribution? Because I've thought about that myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I have Ghetto Dragon, I have Vigilant Fury, I have Reset Protocol. Should I bet on myself and maybe not go national? Because obviously going national means you gotta have some money to get enough books to ship out to the shops. Should I just focus on my region? Meaning I live in Southern California. Should I focus on Southern California, LA
Yeah.
County, Riverside County, San Diego County? Wherever I could drive to. That's like in the radius, right? Will that benefit me? And now, what do you think, Kyle? You think micro distribution could be a good thing? If I'm talking about indie creators now, because like I said earlier, in order to get into previews
Right.
or to have Diamond pick up your book and distribute it to all the stores nationally for you, you have to pay to play, and that means you have to pay them and also have your books ready for them. And if you don't meet the minimum, they won't ever pick you up unless you meet the
Right.
minimum. So
Well,
not just you, but the chat, people who are watching, do you guys think that might be the best bet going forward for indie creators? Because the big publishers, like I said, they're good, they're safe, but the dark horses, the Mad Cave Studios, the
Titan.
Zenescopes, the IDWs. I mean, what about them? What does that mean for them going forward? What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Well, I think one of the benefits of having that type of big distribution is the reach that they have, is that they are nationwide, that they can send your books across the country. And did they also do international as well?
I think
Or
so, but I'm not certain, to be honest. I'm
okay,
pretty
but at
sure
least
they hit international as well.
so like you said, yeah, it might be easier per se to do the local, regional type of distributions, but you're not going to get the same amount of people seeing your book as you would if it
Right.
was by a national distributor. And I think in the long run, something's going to come back in. What either Penguin or Lunar is going to get bigger.
Well, Freddie says here Destiny. I never heard of Destiny, Freddie. What is that? Can you elaborate on that? But go on, Kyle. Sorry.
Um, Either Lunar or Penguin will step up to maybe being close to the Diamond level of distribution. But yeah, like you said though, with like getting the previews and the minimum orders and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's all going to change. I'm sure that that's all going to it's going to have to change, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that being it's going to have to a lot of rules and regulations are going to have to be reworked and
Yeah.
because
Now, let me ask you this as a what
okay.
if. Will it hurt them financially if they lowered that standard? So I'm not sure. For those who have distributed comic books through via Diamond, please enlighten us on it. But I'm guessing they expect the minimum is 2,000 copies that you must have on hand for them to be sent, books, and I think it's about $1,500 to like pay for the service.
Yeah.
Now, do you think if they lowered that, would that help them in the long run? Because then if it's a bit more affordable, people like myself, people like Ben Soto, who's also a comic book creator, maybe it would be like, well, hey, I mean, if it's cheap, I mean, why not? And then hopefully that could cause like, okay, well, maybe we'll make it cheap enough. Maybe it's not cheap enough where like anyone can do it, but
Right.
cheap enough where like, okay, we have enough to cover the cost. Do you think that might be a good business sense, or maybe not, or just because my question, what I'm wondering is,
What are you trying to get at?
well, I'm just trying to get at, for people like myself, but I'm talking, well, now to add to that, um, do you think they're going to go away from comics altogether as a way of going, you know what, it's not even worth it for us, because what's really pushing for us is the statues, the toys, the
Yeah.
actual, stuff that actually does, that we do move and we do get orders from. Well, what are your thoughts on those two?
Okay, so for the toys and everything like that, because yeah, I didn't. I mean, like I knew that Diamond also did toys and stuff like that, but it never really crossed my mind. I don't know how much of a, a big
Freddie.
a big pull that they have, a big percentage of the pie of the toy
Right.
distribution that they have. Are they just the distributor of them, or did they also make the toys as well?
I think they make. I remember at San Diego Comic Con, they were stationed
Yeah,
there,
they had a
and they had like
station
a
there, but
exclusive, like a diamond exclusive statues.
yeah, I got
Well,
some of those. And
so
I guess
maybe they
I
expanded. Maybe they expanded that. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. If for those of you who know, please let us know, enlighten us, and tell us if that's true or not. But I'm not sure, to be honest.
well, if they're just distributing them, then who like I said, whoever is actually creating the toys is probably going to find some other avenue in order
Mm.
to distribute the toys. Maybe Tom McFarlane and his McFarlane line will go and pick them up or something like that if they're like comic book related.
Does McFarlane distribute his own toys,
I think so.
or does he use Diamond? That's a good question to find the answer to. But that'd be
Yeah.
interesting to find out.
But
Well,
in terms of like will the comics go away? I
yeah.
think I mean like they're so geared. They have all the machinery and everything like that. I can't imagine them getting rid of all of the machinery that they have for printing all the books and everything
They
and
don't. I
sending
don't think
them.
they print the books.
Oh, they don't print the books?
No, they just distribute them.
Oh, they just distribute.
Yeah, they just distribute them. They don't.
Oh,
They
I
don't
thought
print
they printed
anything.
them.
No, it's the responsibility of the publisher to print them and then send them to distributors so that they can distribute the books
Ah, okay.
to all the stores. That's the deal. That's why Diamond became such a powerhouse in the comic book game, because it was very convenient. Because remember, there's comic books used to be on newsstands, magazine
Yeah,
stands. And so when the magazine stand said we're not going to carry comic books anymore because all we're doing is just wasting space and no one buys them. And now these companies didn't want to go under because that was their main point of revenue.
hmm,
So they created the direct market. And that's when that's when the comic book stores started popping up. Individually owned comic book stores. And then now the publishers had a way to get their books out to the public.
yeah,
And so when they lost the supermarkets, they lost, the magazine stands and the newsstands, they went just direct market, which is honestly the saving grace for the industry. Because without that, I think the industry would have just gone extinct. The comic books would have been something from the past, and there would have been no new comic books at all if it wasn't for the direct market. So, of course, you need to distribute these books, and they were going to just mail everything to everyone. So they found these small little distribution companies that didn't distribute comic books, but they distributed magazines and all that stuff for the newsstands. So they used them
yeah.
to to get it to the stores that were popping up throughout the country. So
Well, I assume though, if they are going to continue with the toys, I mean, most comic book shops now, current comic book shops and new comic book shops do sell the toys as
yeah,
like a
right.
main source of revenue. So I'd assume if they're going to be delivering the toys still, that they would also do the comic books because they're already going to be using those assets to send them to the locations anyway. Like,
Mm. Oh, right.
Having the drivers, having the pickup people, and all that stuff are already going to go to those locations.
Right.
I'm assuming they would probably also do the books as well. They
Well, let's
might
hope
have
so.
to they might have to uh upgrade the way that they ship them.
Yeah, they're
The
gonna
way, yeah,
streamline. They're gonna have to streamline the way if they want to keep comics because they could get rid of comics.
yeah,
Like Benjamin says here, his argument against the toys saving them is that if they already distributing them, then they wouldn't be filing for Chapter 11 unless comics are really that big of a drain on them, which could be true.
that's true.
If it's too costly to to distribute the comic books because it doesn't pay enough to cover the salaries of these drivers and the employees who work
Yeah,
there. It's kind of like why we're still bleeding money from these comics, which by the way are not selling well.
yeah.
You know, if they were selling well, I think it would be safe to say that they would have found at least some another other publishers who were filling that void that Marvel and DC left behind when they left.
I guess, yeah, it does make. I guess now thinking about it, yeah, if because toys don't need to have a sell by date or in shop date per se.
Right. Right.
Toys can be delivered at any point. Yeah, they're supposed to be released on a certain day, but it's not like a new McFarlane toy is coming out every single week
Right. Right.
versus a comic book, has to be delivered every single week, whether, whoever has been using, Diamond so far. But at least they'd have to make the trip every single week.
Mhm.
So I guess from that standpoint, yeah, they would probably they could cut comic books out and just focus on the toys, which would be a less strain on them.
Oh, absolutely. And if they're fighting for Chapter 11, that might be something they have to sacrifice to stay in
Yeah.
business. This is costing us too much? We have to stop. And now what for, like I said, the smaller publishers? Xenoscope. Well, let's read. This one was sent to me. Shout out to Benjamin. He sent me this from his own comic book shop. Remind me again, Ben. You're from Oklahoma, if I remember correctly. If you are, please let me know. If not, then I apologize. Let me know where you're from. But just like Kyle, he asked, he's curious, and he asked the employees there at our local comic shop if it was going to be affected. He said not as much. Only he's, the small publisher might be affected, but they're going to remain business as usual, right? Oh, because you are from Oklahoma. Okay, good. So he sent me this picture, and he was nice enough to let me share it here. So I'll read it. He said, Diamond has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Starting with this week's FOC is a final off. What's this FOC stand for?
Final cutoff for
Final
no,
cutoff.
it's for I think it is final cut.
Final
It's
order
something.
cutoff or something like
Final order cutoff. That's it.
Okay.
I knew it was something cut off.
So starting with this week's FOC, we will no longer be ordering comic books from Diamond Distribution for a new comic book day wall for the foreseeable future. So
Yeah,
there's that. There for this shop. I don't know. I don't know about the rest of the shops, but for this particular shop, they're no longer going to order from Diamond, like at all, which is crazy. We will be ordering books from Diamond for pre-orders, subscriptions, and any special order requests. So now the customers are going to have to go, to the desk or the counter and say, "I want you to order this book for me," and they'll do it. So that's still kind of good. That's still all right, but no longer going to pick up 10, 15 issues of a book just because anymore.
it's a special order only, basically.
Special order only. These publishers are included Boom Studios until they switch to Penguin Random House distribution this summer. Okay, so Boom Studios will be safe this coming summer when they make the switch. Distillery, which is an okay publisher, they've been coming out with some okay stuff. Not really anything that's kind of causing any like greatness. Dynamite, Titan Comics, which is your Conan. Is that?
Conan, yeah, which I'm really bummed about.
Bad Egg Publishing, Keen Spot, Archie, Aftershock, Ablaze, Sumerian, Massive, and Xenoscope. So all those publishers that this particular comic shop used to probably carry are no longer going to carry it, which is unfortunate for those publishing houses there.
Yeah.
This decision was not made lightly, but the inability to consistently get product to us by the on sale date, coupled with the high amount of damages, sometimes complete shipments being damaged, has led to this decision. So this particular store had terrible experiences with Diamond,
Yeah.
and this happened to our store too, where some books were late. They didn't arrive
Yeah.
at the store. And for a while there, I thought like for instance, it was GI Joe, some of the GI Joe books, and I thought Skybound was at fault. I was like, "Whoa, Skybound must be in trouble. They didn't deliver the books on time." But I come to find out, it wasn't Skybound. It was Diamond that
Diamond.
was responsible for that. Which
And there's been
is
a lot of damaged books from what I heard as well.
on
I
our shop too.
in our shop, yeah.
Oh man,
I feel from overhearing the conversations I heard between the workers,
yeah.
it seems like they'd always pretty much every single shipment would have at least something damaged.
So
So
it's probably safe to say or to assume. I'm going to assume that the employees who worked at Diamond were probably overworked and underpaid.
yeah,
Because when employees are overworked and underpaid, that tends to happen because you don't care anymore. You don't care. You're just gonna throw it in the box, throw it in the truck. I don't care. Throw it in there. I don't care. They're not paying me enough. And that usually what happens when things like that occur. Because I understand, some things do get damaged. Like for instance, when one of the backers for I believe it was Reset Protocol, their comic book came bent.
oh really?
And I was like, well, I packed it up, man, and it was pristine when I packed it up. So again, but you just never know. Some employees at the post office, in my instance, they probably just, who cares? Throw it away here,
Yeah.
put it here.
Do not
And
bend. Okay.
yeah. No, you want to avoid putting those stickers on because that's when they do it for some reason.
Yeah.
Ben says 2 weeks ago the complete shipment was damaged, so the shop returned all of them, and they had no new books.
Wow.
There you go.
A
Justin,
whole week of no new
dude,
books.
that's wild. Justin says low staff and short deadlines can cause that too. Absolutely, absolutely. Add to that to the damage. They go on to say if you have a subscription or pre-order for a title distributed exclusively through Diamond, we will continue to order that for you, which is nice and gracious on their part. We will just not be carrying Diamond exclusive books on our new comic book wall on Wednesdays. Yikes. So
It just seems like go ahead.
I was going to say, this could also lead. So when they start looking at their finances, and if they see this is causing us too much money, and they see
Yeah.
stuff like this, they might say it's not even worth it. We
Yeah.
lost all our stock with the people who own these shops, and then they may not want to work with us anymore.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say is that any amount of trust that they had, any of these shop owners had in Diamond is gone. Not saying that they had any to begin with. They was from the sentiment of a lot of shops,
Yeah.
it seemed like it was a necessary evil.
Right.
And so like if they ever do come back, that's going to be a large hill that they're going to have to climb to get trust back with these shop owners.
I hope in those meetings that they're going to have, that they're probably having already, that comic books still have, it's still enough for them to like, this is still good revenue. It may not be Marvel, DC, it's a big client, but we have enough clients, small clients, that it can make up for the loss. So I'm hoping that's the case, because I don't want these smaller publishers to suffer when it comes to getting their books out. Because I mean, I don't collect Conan, but I know if you recommend Conan enough to me, I'm gonna start wanting to buy the books again, because I stopped buying the books because it got too much for me. I had to pick and choose which books I really wanted, even though I knew that Conan was good. I just didn't like some of it, but I still enjoyed it.
And I'm telling you, you missed out, man. You missed out.
I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
But Aftershock, there's some books that from Aftershock that I do like because they do focus more on like crime,
Yeah.
comics, and I love crime comics. Titan Comics, I mean, there's that Conan there, Dynamite. I mean, there's some good stuff from Dynamite coming out recently.
Mhm.
I heard Space Ghost is doing pretty damn good. Johnny Quest, I'm hearing good buzz around, with that book. So it's unfortunate that some of
I
these
think isn't
publishers,
also Dynamite also the Wildcats or not Wildcats, Thundercats?
yeah, Thundercats, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
Thundercats book. That's
I heard that's been going pretty
yeah,
well.
they've been gaining some traction with these licenses that they got, and it'd be unfortunate if they lost they lost the what do you call the word I'm looking
Momentum,
for? The what?
momentum.
The momentum that they're building up with the readers like myself. And
Yeah,
it would suck if like, hey, do you guys carry this book? Nah, man, you have to order it exclusively now. We're not gonna carry it no more. You know?
right.
Freddie says the employees at Diamond probably knew something. That's why they stopped carrying. They were packing the books like crap, saying what they're gonna do, fire us. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
But I'm
But
just
yeah,
wondering,
go ahead.
now what's gonna happen with like you mentioned with like with the previews, like you mentioned, and then you know with some of these, like the San Diego Comic Con, you have to prove that you have published a book and sold this many units, and there was like a metric, and there was like a standardized type metric, and that standardized metric was based off a diamond, and there
True.
was a lot of other exclusives that was happening, um, also with diamond. So now that they're gone, is that just going to be up for grabs for Lunar, for Penguin? Is it going to be specific for those?
I maybe we might see an influx of these smaller publishers giving their a chance to Lunar.
Yeah,
But from what I hear, Lunar is not that great either. But there's the reason why they'll have grace is because they're starting out
right.
and they're figuring things out. So if they get like a massive influx, they might struggle with that.
Yeah,
But if they get like a
we've only
slow,
been capable for this. Now we have
yeah,
this.
if they get like a slow trickle in of these publishers, hey, we want to move to you, then maybe they might be able to keep up. Because I'm assuming the comic shop owners alongside the publishers are probably going to have these like Zoom calls with the people at Diamond to find out exactly what's going on, what they're going to do going forward. And again, I hope it all works out at the end.
Yeah.
Because I want to see comics thrive. I don't want comics to die.
No, of course not.
Well, I know, but there's people out there who's like, well, it deserves to die because they, the woke stuff killed it and all that stuff, which is, I mean, somewhat true, but there's still pockets of good stuff coming out amongst
Yeah.
the sea of crap that we do get on the weekly basis.
There's still lots of good stories that do come
Yeah,
out.
and
And
there's a
there's a
lot of
lot of
up and coming creators who are just starting to find their footing, and people are starting to take notice and like, hey, this guy's really good. This like guy from who's writing this small Dynamite book is pretty good, or this guy who's writing this book from Titan Publishing is pretty good. Whatever the case, or an artist or whatever.
yeah.
And yeah, I just hope that they figure it out, because the shops, it sounds like they're going to be okay, because Marvel and DC it's pretty much that's it. That's the main
Yeah.
reason why customers go into the shops, because they mainly shop for Marvel and DC, and they're fine. They're not gonna they're always gonna get those books on time.
Well,
Uh,
hopefully.
well, hopefully, I mean, so far I haven't heard any books from Marvel and DC that have been late. Just
Just
Skybound, but
the indies, yeah.
that's because wait, is Skybound using Diamond? I thought they were part of Image and they use Lunar.
Um,
Wait,
I'm
so
not
this whole
sure.
time it's been Lunar that's been messing up on those late books for GI Joe?
Possibly.
Because if Skybound is part of Image, they have to use the same distribution company, I
Yeah,
imagine, right?
I would assume so. Unless they're completely separate, but I doubt it.
Right. Crenshaw says, "Wonder about Rome Eternal." Yeah, that was my concern
Yeah.
too. My concern too is, I don't want Oh gosh, apologies to the publisher. My mind went blank. What's the name of that publishing house from San Diego that's
um,
publishing Rome Eternal?
yeah, it's I'm getting it. What's it called?
Magma. Thank you, Crenshaw.
Magma. That's it. Magma Comics.
Magma Comics. How's it gonna affect them? And Rome Eternal is gonna. I personally feel Rome Eternal is gonna be the breakout hit when it finishes.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling it's gonna be that book that people are gonna be like, dude, you have to read Rome Eternal. It's so freaking good. And to lose the momentum again just because of the diamond distribution. So I'm hoping, like I said, good things happen. But
Me too.
I guess
We'll just have to wait
we'll
and
never
see.
know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, exactly. That's all I got for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty big news, It's
huge.
so
But
like
it
I
reminded
mean,
me of San Diego because when I
yeah.
went to that creator networking event that they had there, one of the vendors told us flat out, don't depend on Diamond. Use them, but don't depend on them. And of course, I asked him, well, what do you mean by that? Because I asked him, like, well, what do you mean? He's like, all I'll say is
Hmm.
use them, but don't depend on them. They're on shaky ground right now, and that's all I'll say. That's what he said. He didn't want to say anything else. And so
And
now
that
we
was just
know.
in July.
That was back in July, so that was 6 months ago. So obviously he saw the writing on the wall. He figured something was going to be up, and he didn't elaborate because I'm sure he did it because he didn't know if I was maybe he thought I was a reporter or something, a blogger. He didn't want to be
You're like
quoted,
Jimmy Olsen. You're like,
Yeah.
what's this?
Are
Or
you
Lois
saying on
Lane.
the record? On the record, what do you mean by that?
On the record.
But he was right. It was on shaky ground, and here we are. We're seeing Diamond file Chapter 11, which again is great. It's still good news because that they're just gonna get their stuff situated, and once they get their stuff situated, hopefully they kind of go back to a semblance of normalcy.
But they're not going to
They get it.
get back to the position that they were.
No. If anything, this is a prime opportunity for Lunar or maybe another small distribution company going, look, let's do comics. Screw it. Why not? What
Yeah.
will it hurt? We have the infrastructure for it. Why not do it?
Yeah.
So hopefully that's the case. Knock on wood. But that's the news. That's the biggest news. The other one is we didn't want to get into it too much because why? It's Neil Gaiman got caught. Not
Yeah.
got caught, but it came out that he is a depraved depraved animal. Who I mean, if you believe the witnesses, I mean everything's hearsay at this point because nothing has been proven in the court of law. And I'm the school of thought that if it's not proven in the court of law, it's pretty much hearsay until it's proven.
Yeah.
And so, or criminal report, like an actual criminal report,
Police report or something
police
like
report.
that.
Thank you. But that's what happened with Neil Gaiman. He's pretty much done now. He's gone. He's no
What
longer going to
about
be a major staple in the comic book industry.
Miracle Man the Dark
Dark Age
Age?
is gone. Poof, poof, gone. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Diamond stuff. Again, I hope everything works out. I hope everything is situated, and hopefully they move some things around where people like myself can benefit from the new system, because the old system was kind of built against us. To be honest with you, you really had to like have
Right.
some major cash, on you if you wanted to be in Diamond. So
We'll
or
see.
TikTok convinces me, and that's why we're friends. So yeah, so next item on the menu is
Okay.
yeah. You have any final thoughts, Kyle? Sorry, I should ask you if you
No,
have any
I
final
mean,
thoughts.
I was just thinking of like, I'm just thinking from a collector standpoint. It's like, should
Oh.
I get all the diamonds, all the diamond exclusive stuff right now, and like and sell it
Of
off
course.
or something like that? Because I had some, speaking of the San Diego Comic-Con, I had the diamond exclusive variant of the Conan the Barbarian book. And I'm like, ooh, is that going
Oh,
to be worth more money now?
right,
Because
right.
it
That's
has
right.
big old diamond distribution on the back of it. So there
Oh
you go.
gosh.
Just go invest in diamond books.
Well, there's that. Thankfully, it won't affect the stores, which I was
Yeah.
concerned about when the news first broke. But now it's safe to say that they're not going to be affected too much, which is a good thing because I like my shop and I don't want it to close. It'd be a sad day if it did.
Oh yeah.
Well, with that said,
Let's not even think about that.
yeah, no, let's not even think
That's not
about
gonna
that.
happen.
Yeah, with that said, let's move on to the next segment, which is Kyle's segment.
Yes.
It's gonna be a doozy, people.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So, is it worth the pickup? Now, last week, Kyle and alongside Ben and Freddie reviewed Vigilant Fury.
Yep.
And originally, we were supposed to review both Vigilant Fury and Research Protocol, but time didn't allow for that to happen. So I decided to move it to today, and so he's going to review Research Protocol.
Yep. Reset.
So there it is, Reset Protocol. I'm gonna do the same thing like last week. So if you want to hop on and join Kyle in my crucifixion, then by all means come on along and let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the Reset Protocol? Was it interesting? Was it boring? Was it something that Brady's like pass.
Pass to coming on or passing on the book?
So I shared the link on both the YouTube and X. So if you're watching on X, I shared it there. So if you want to hop on there or not, you don't have to hop on. There's no pressure. If you
always
prefer, huh?
Yeah, go ahead. You can always type in the chat, and I could always be your voice.
Yeah. Haven't received your book yet. Sent it out this week. Well.
Oh. Do you want to wait then? Do you want to wait for this segment until people get their books?
No. Yeah. What the heck, dude? What the hell's going on with the USPS? I gotta look into that. Hopefully nothing's being held. But no. If you guys want, what I'm gonna do is, if you guys want to come on the show later on, then I could always not postpone it, but because I still want to hear your thoughts, Kyle.
Yeah.
I will always make time for you guys. So if like a week from now or 2 weeks from now, you say, hey, I actually want to come on and talk about this book, then I'll tell Kyle, hey, for Is It Worth the Pickup, I'm going to have these guys come on. They're going to give me their thoughts on Reset Protocol. And then that way you guys can share your thoughts with me. But again, like I was saying, if you guys don't want to come on, I get it. I understand.
But the thing is, though, like if we're gonna be I'm gonna be talking about the spoilers and stuff. So I don't know if I want to.
Right.
Tell if they haven't even read it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Curiouser. Crenshaw says, pretty sure mine is showing up tomorrow. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it's taking so damn long to get to you guys. But all right, well, let's put up for a vote. Let me know. Oh, there it is. My wife put it on the coffee table to stabilize it.
I used it to, nail in some, shelves that I was gonna be putting up.
How about, can you do a non-spoiler review, Kyle?
Yeah.
Or should we hold off? You want to hold off?
I'd rather hold off so I can give all of my thoughts, because I thought that everybody else would have had theirs by now. But I guess
Well,
UPS is
others did get their books. The only ones who haven't are obviously Ben and Freddie and Crenshaw. But I don't want to ruin the story for them if they haven't read it, so I don't want to do that either. And it doesn't
yeah.
seem like anyone else on the Twitter side is wanting to join on or hop on. Um, yeah. Let's hold off. Let's hold off then.
Okay.
Let's hold off. And if anyone does come in, then maybe I'll let them on and just ask them, hey, just don't give any spoilers. Just let me know what you thought of it, and then we can have that discussion.
We
I
can always do a
understand that
different review.
it's difficult to find the book that you want to review. Unfortunately, I don't have a PDF of it, so I won't be able to share the pages.
Right, because I didn't think we were gonna do it. We could do Aquaman. I read Aquaman. Well, we could put it up to a vote, I guess.
Yeah,
Of the new books that I read,
yeah.
Aquaman, Flash Gordon, Absolute Batman. I could give my thoughts on Absolute Batman. We both read though, at least some of them, so you can give.
Well, I
our
read
thoughts on
the
that.
first 2 issues. I haven't read the latest one yet.
Yeah, this is number 4.
Okay, see, I haven't read those 3. I haven't read 3 or 4 yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll hold off on the Freddie says he wants you to do Absolute Batman.
Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's put it
We
for a
wanna do
vote.
the
You guys
first one?
want Kyle to review Aquaman? What was it? Aquaman, Absolute
Aquaman,
Batman,
Batman, or Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Justin says Absolute Batman. So you have Freddie.
Gave up on the
You have Freddie who wants Absolute Batman, and Justin. Anyone else? Anyone else want the other books?
The newest issue or the first issue, so we can both talk.
No, the latest issue. The latest issue. Ben says Batquaman.
Aquaman.
So what you can do if we do Absolute Batman, you can do a brief review of the first 3 issues and then give the full one for the 4th.
Okay.
Oh, well, Justin says first issue now.
Just the first issue. All right. Well, then if that's the case, then we both have the first issue, so we can go.
Yeah. I can speak on the first issue and the second one, but I can't speak on the 3rd or the 4th. So you know what? Let's just do issues 1 through 4. How about that?
Well, that's a lot.
No, well, don't give the full detail on all the
okay. Just overview thoughts.
Do the overview thoughts, and then when you get to the 4th one, you can give your thoughts on the 4th issue, exactly. Because I think at this point, people have read the first issue, and we have a good idea of what Absolute Batman is, considering how everything was laid out in that first issue. Okay. But I have a question for the people in the chat and also the people watching who are not commenting, because I get it. I'm the same way. I'm like you guys. I like to sit in the background and just watch and not really engage too much in the chat. And when I watch other live streams, so I get you. I see you. But I want to ask, is it tough to give a review of a book that you bought and you read directly to the creator? Because I know the letters page of old, it was a little easier for the person who wrote the letter to give their honest thoughts, because it was very indirect in a lot of ways, right? You wrote the letter, you put it in an envelope, put the stamp, and you sent it on, to get to the destination. And then an editor read it and then shared it on in the book. And now the editor is the one who's responding to you, not the writer or the artist involved in the book. So I'm wondering if it's hard, if it's like daunting to come on here live and give me your honest review here proverbially to my face. Is that something that's daunting? Not because I'm an intimidating individual or anything like that. It's just that.
Oh yeah, look at that goatee fro, mustache you gotta go. It's so intimidating.
It's mainly because of, I would imagine it's because of manners, right? You don't want to disparage someone in thinking you're gonna hurt their feelings.
You suck. This book was bad.
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering as a from one person to another, because In the years that I've been trying to make it in this industry, I've only had one person to ever in my face tell me that my stuff was terrible. And that was an editor. Of course, right? Of course it was an editor. He was not shy to let me know his true thoughts, and he told it right to my face. And it hurt.
Face.
Yeah, it hurt. I'm not gonna lie, it did hurt. It hurt, it stung, but it, I grew.
Right.
I matured, I needed the fire to germinate to blossom into who I am today. And so I'm wondering, is that if that's the case when it comes to doing these live reviews? Because I was kind of hoping that these live reviews would at least give me or at least open the door to what the reader is thinking. Did I do a good job entertaining you? Did I do a good job delivering a product? Did I do a good job telling a story? Be it slow paced story or fast paced story, like, slow paced being, Reset Protocol is very slow paced. And
Yeah.
also, Vigilant Fury is very fast paced. So I guess that's what my question is, like, is that tough to do? Justin says it makes it easier if the person is asking sincerity for and that's what I'm asking him, sincerity for criticism, because how will I know if I'm any good if you guys don't tell me?
Right.
And I get it. It's like when I hear about other creators who get really mad at readers who tell them, hey, this latest issue was crap, dude. And you get, you fly out, you fly off the handle. But for me, it's more like, well, there's got to be a level of professionalism, especially in this day and age. In this day and age, a lot of the pros, unfortunately, are very thin-skinned, as I've noticed. And I don't want to, I want to buck that trend. I want to be the guy who's like, who can sit there and take it. Like I was watching a sports documentary about the Detroit Pistons of the 80s. And Bill Lambier was the center for that team. And there's a scene in the documentary where he's being interviewed and asked if he cared about all the jeers that he got from the crowd, from the away games, And they asked him, did you ever feel heat? Did you ever feel like bad? And he's like, oh no, I loved it. I like thrived on it,
Oh yeah.
And so, and some people are like that. I'm not like that, but I don't mind sitting in the fire when it comes to criticizing my work, because again, how will I know if I'm any good if I don't get, your honest feedback from that?
Right.
So Crenshaw says, it's thought if I'm unsure how it would be taken by the creator, you asked for it, so I know you take it as constructive. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's tough if I'm unsure.
Yeah, what's up, Ferris? Freddie says, you should have tweeted after meeting him. The raza would have helped you get that job, bro. It would be protest signs and burrito out there. Justin says, I would come on to talk about it, but I still have my house in Lubbock. I don't know. Lubbock. Thank you. As my shipping address for some of my mail, it'll be a while before I get it. Okay, that's fine, man. No worries. Like I said, we'll hold off. For down the line, maybe not next weekend.
He's just so ready. He's like on the gun. I was like, I want to review it right now. Let's go.
Yeah. I was ready to. And Kyle will attest. I was like, today I was like, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for Reset Protocol, because that was the toughest story I had to write. It was the first time. It was the first project that I actually finished, and it was written 12 years ago.
Yeah,
15 years ago. I forget how long exactly. And so I was eager to see, like, the difference between Vigilant Fury and Reset Protocol, considering the fact that I released both of them at the same time, but Reset Protocol was written years and years ago. So we'll wait. Because now I want to hear from you guys, but go ahead, Kyle.
All right, so for Batman,
Absolute Batman.
Absolute Batman. All right, Absolute Batman number 1. I think that this. All right, so generally, overall, I have been enjoying Absolute Batman, and pretty much only Absolute Batman. Out of the 3 titles, there's been Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman.
I read Absolute Superman because again, I love Superman, so I'll try out whatever new thing they might come out that will come out. And yeah, it wasn't for me. It was something I was like, nope, nope, not for me. So I
Yeah.
stopped. I after the first issue, I just stopped completely. I know that what's his face is taking over Superman. Not Absolute Superman. Superman Unlimited, I think it's called. It's by what's that guy's name? He did Spider Man for a lot of years. They did a
Uh,
documentary about him in Marvel. He was what's the guy's name? Chat. Let me know the writer's name for Amazing Spider-Man. He's kind of like a writer that either love or hate. I forget his name.
I don't know.
Well, anyways,
I heard about it, but I don't know who you're talking about.
yeah, I forget his name. Crenshaw says a few of my short review videos have had some less than positive criticism, and some have taken it well, while others kind of ignored the review altogether. Yeah, those are the people you know. No, not Hickman. Not Hickman. I'm sure the name will come to me. You should have asked your social medias if we got the book. Yeah, I should have. I should have. Now looking back, I should have DM'd you guys to find out if you guys received your book. So that way I could have at least, for the
Prepared a
most
little bit
part,
more.
waited, until you guys got your books, and then we could have done this in a different day. Oh, Dan Slott. That's his name.
Dan Slott.
Dan
Okay.
Slott. He's gonna write Superman, and I might check that one out just because I know he's not well regarded. A lot of people
Yeah.
hate his work, but there's a lot of people who love it. And so I'm gonna try Superman. I'm gonna try it just to see. But okay, go on. Absolute Batman.
All right. So yeah, like I said, out of the 3 titles, Absolute Batman is the one that I personally have liked the most, and it seems kind of like the sentiment with other people. Um, yeah, like you,
Yeah.
Absolute Superman is okay. I like the art in it. The story in it is kind of lacking. I haven't read the newest couple issues though, so I'm a little behind in that story. And the same with Wonder Woman. Wonder
What's up,
Woman, I feel
Edwin?
is the weakest out of all of them.
That
Just
looked like the
because,
weakest out of all of them when I saw
yeah.
the images. I was like, no, no.
But if you don't know, this Absolute universe is DC's version of the Ultimate Universe for Marvel.
Yeah.
And Marvel just, relaunched that with Ultimate Spider-Man #1 and a bunch of other Ultimate titles. And that's been going really well for them. Although the Ultimate Spider-Man book hasn't really been doing very well. At least
Yeah.
Absolute Batman, though, it did sell a lot of copies last year. I mean, it had like 400,000. I think it was the amount of copies or something, or dollars. I can't remember.
It was close to 400,000.
400,000.
It
Close to
wasn't 400,000. It was close to 400,000,
close
which is
to
they
400,000.
just rounded it up because they wanted to, sell the number.
Have that number.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of the first story in issue 1, it's a completely different Batman. I'll just give brief overviews of each issue. So that
First,
way if you
I
want to
was gonna
read it,
say,
you can.
yeah, I was gonna say, first one was fantastic. I
Yes.
thought it was a great introduction to this world. It was a great introduction to the kind of character this version of Bruce Wayne was, and I thought it was a great way to showcase just how much you can't really mess up Batman no matter how you present him
Right.
if you have the right person writing it. And of course, Nick DeGrotto's artwork is fantastic. And
Yes.
in the beginning, I wasn't sold on the artwork. I wasn't sold on how big he was, and I wasn't sold on the costume. But it was one of those instances where I kept looking at it, and the more I looked at it, the more I started to like it. And so the more I found myself liking it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick this one up. I'm gonna pick
Right.
this one up. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna give it a shot because I'm starting to dig this design. And this part was like, oh, this is cool. Okay,
Yeah.
it brought back, for me anyway, the spirit of what comic books should be. It should be outrageous. You
Yeah.
know, it should
You
be
know,
out there. It should be like what a comic book is supposed to be. It's supposed like you're supposed to suspend your disbelief. It's not supposed to be real life. And so I dug it from beginning to end, especially the ending when we see the Joker for the first time.
oh yeah. Oh here, let me pull up that page.
And I know Ray from 656. Shout out to Ray from 656 Comics. He wasn't a big fan of the ending, showcasing Joker right away. But I dug it because it's a nice teaser to get you really excited, and I love the fact that they switched that Scott Snyder switched them in terms of like now Joker is the money man. He's the elite.
Yeah.
He's the guy who has the power and the money, and Bruce Wayne is the blue collar working class working stiff. And I thought that was brilliant. I thought it worked perfectly. Yeah, look at that, man. Badass. I love the fact that he stole Alfred's bike in this issue. It
I
was
know
pretty great.
that's another thing in this because it's all different basically. Yeah, like you said, Batman is a blue collar worker. He's not the billionaire rich playboy, philanthropist type of
Yeah,
person.
right.
He's blue collar worker. His mother's still alive. He lives in just a normal house. But he is Batman. He's still Batman. He
Yeah,
still has his reasons to become Batman. And like you said, Alfred is completely different in this as well, where
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
his butler, he is a government spy, like
yeah.
was
He's an agent.
MI6
MI6, yeah,
MI6 agent,
MI6.
yeah, who is out there to figure out what's happening in Gotham. That there's this new crime organization that's happening, and specifically that there's a new
Yeah.
unknown uh, rogue agent going along, and they want to figure out what's happening to him.
Crenshaw says, "Were these three books different enough from the OP that they could have just been
Oh,
new characters?"
from the original, like
Oh, the
they
original
different enough from
property.
the original that they could have just been new characters instead of reworking the other ones.
That's a good question. Would it? You think?
Um, hmm,
That's a good question,
possibly.
Crenshaw.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
I think it's balancing the fact where it's like, yes, it's different enough where, yes, if you do change a few more things, then yeah, it'd be a completely different character.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
If you, the way that they have it balanced right now, where it's like, okay, there's still things that have happened to this Batman and Joker and all of them that are in line with the originals, but it's different where it's almost like if it's an Elseworld type of thing. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. And it also did a great job doing what the Ultimate Universe, not this current one, the one that came out in the early 2000s did, which is we're going to take the things that are recognizable to the fans and we're just going to update it to today's time. And that's why that
Yeah.
worked. That's why it worked like it sold like hotcakes, man. I remember
Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man, like it was just like a freaking phenomenon, man. Just going there and going, hey, do you have Ultimate Spider-Man? No, we sold out. They're gonna do a second printing. And then the second printing came out, and when you came back, oh, do you have the second printing? No, we sold out of the second printing.
Yeah.
And it was like, what?
We're on fourth printing right now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so this one, I think Scott Snyder, give him credit where it's due, did a great job doing that in this one. And I also like the fact that he used a not school shooting, but a public shooting to
Yes.
show that he lost his dad that way, because it's a slice of, unfortunately, our current life here in America, where we do have constant freaking public shooters who just can't help themselves and go out on the rampage. So I thought all around this is a strong first issue.
Yes.
I was not sorry that I picked it up, and I was really excited for the second issue.
Yeah. Definitely issue 1 worth the pickup.
Worth the pickup, absolutely. Freddie Ness says we're a few years from Batman going into public domain. Could this possibly be a way to transition their IP to something they? Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Of course.
everybody's gonna use Batman.
Batman, the zombie hunter.
Yeah,
Character dynamics probably wouldn't have the same pop or shock factor if these were. Yeah, exactly,
right.
exactly. That's the key. That's the
And
key.
yeah, speaking of dynamics, you have issue 2, where it's
Yes.
Batman and Alfred. They were the main characters in this story, where we get to learn a little bit more about Batman's, his beginning in this universe with him
Yeah.
at the zoo. He
Right.
was trapped in the bat enclosure while his dad was out there uh, protecting all the kids from the shooter. But we start off strong with some great action.
Yeah, absolutely. That was fantastic. Nick DeGrota again, man, just killing it.
Yeah,
Surprisingly so, because I'm not accustomed to Nick DeGrota drawing in that way, but he's stepping his game up with this one.
I mean, look at some of
Yeah,
that.
awesome.
But in this story, yeah, we get more dynamics between him and Alfred. They're talking a lot more about, what they want for the city. We learn more about Batman and his other rogues and how they're actually his friends.
Yeah, that's another nice touch that Scott Snyder did here, which surprised me by the way. I was not expecting this. And when I saw this scene, when I read this scene, I was like, whoa, okay, all right, this is cool because now whatever it is he's gonna decide to do with them, I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
And I'm hoping he doesn't go down the route where they all become his rogues gallery. I'm hoping it's 50-50. I'm hoping it's like a few of them do, but a few of them don't.
Yeah.
That's my hope. That's my wishful thinking because again, this is the absolute universe. This is something that you can have fun doing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main
And
reasons why
they
the
have some fun in this.
yeah, and one of the main reasons why the Ultimate Universe, I'm talking about the early one from the early 2000s worked for me, is specifically Ultimate X-Men was because A, we got Wolverine right away,
Right.
and then B, he hooks up with Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's a joke, right? It's a running joke. Jean Grey belongs to Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that he did that, it did kind of irk some of the fans, but Mark Millar, to his credit, reminded the fans like, dude, this is the Ultimate Universe. We can do
Right.
whatever we want here, and it worked. And then this is what I liked about this issue is that Scott Snyder decided, well, how about if they're friends? And that's great. I think that was a nice touch on his part again.
We also learn more about one of the main villains in this story, which is Black Mask.
Black Mask. Yeah, I was hoping it was Mad Hatter, honestly.
Yeah, it could still be, but so far it's been Black Mask. And then this is what you're talking about, fun.
Yeah,
Giant
dude, that was so rad.
bulldozer Batmobile.
I love that. That was great.
Yeah. So definitely issue 2 was also worth the pickup.
Worth the pickup. Crenshaw says, so part of the selling point is that it's Batman, but like you've never seen him before. If it was just a new character, chest axe, it wouldn't
Chest
have the
axe.
gimmick to help sell it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
pretty much. It's Batman name just to sell the book. Yeah, if it's Chest Axe, I don't think anybody would have bought it.
Maybe they wouldn't buy it, but it wouldn't have done 400,000 copies. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It probably would have done well because it's still Scott Snyder and it's Nick DeGrota. And, I think comic book readers, in my opinion, are hungry for something new. It's just that no
Mm-hmm.
one's been able to deliver it yet. And when I mean by something new, I mean like something in the likes of like another, Youngblood, another Spawn,
Yeah.
another Invincible, another, Ninja Turtles. That's what I mean by something new, but nothing's caught on yet. Nothing's kind of like caught fire, with that. Everything's kind of been subpar,
Right.
unfortunately. So all it's going to take is for the stars to align for that one artist and that one writer who just find each other and they create something unique or interesting or cool. and deliver it, and it's just gonna just catch fire. But we
It
haven't.
is,
It's
yeah.
not there yet though. It's not there.
And I think that people are primed for that to happen. They're just waiting.
Crenshaw says chest axe is mine, by the way. Trademark, bro.
Hey, might as well. Chest
Yeah,
axe.
hey, go for it, man.
Let's see. So now we're on issue number 3, Batman.
Yeah, I have not read this one yet, so go on, Kyle. Do your thing.
Okay. So in this issue, we get to learn more about his dynamics with some childhood friends like Catwoman.
The Chessmobile.
Just
So, oh, that's right. At the end of issue 2, we get introduced to Selena Kyle, right?
Selena Kyle, yes. We don't get too much of her. A lot of these issues are taking it slow with their introduction of the characters. So it seems like they are introducing them, but then giving them a brief little bit of interaction that they've had to kind of flesh out a little bit, but then they kind of switch gears and go to something else and go back to present time.
Okay.
And so then we go back to where they're, bulldozing through with the giant Batmobile
Yeah, that's right.
machine. And this is where I would say this is the most interaction that you get between Alfred and Batman, where they actually are working together in the
Okay,
Batmobile.
cool. Cool.
Alfred's in there working the bubble turret while Batman's driving.
And then meanwhile, they're obviously chasing them to catch them, right? The authorities.
Yeah, all the Black Mask
Oh, all the Black Mask. Okay,
all
okay.
the Black Mask people, and the police are also after them because
okay.
they're causing a bunch of destruction.
How's the action? How's the sequential work in this issue?
It's pretty good. It's really good. I would say that it's on par with all the rest of them. I mean, you look at like this where you have like so many panels in this page, but it never feels too cluttered.
Yeah. That's another thing I'm digging about this collaboration between Scott Snyder and Nick DeGrota is that as much as I love large panels that we got in the 90s from like the Liefelds, the McFarlanes, that stuff is great. But sometimes I want a little bit of compactness in my comics. And that's what Frank Miller, Frank Miller was famous for doing that, where he's able to fit, 12, 15 panels in a page, and yet never feeling or never reading like you're bogged down when you're looking at the page.
Well, and it's not just the amount of panels as well, but it's also different types of panels. Like you have connecting panels and you have bigger panels, and then you have the smaller panel, like the really small
What's
panels.
going on here? What's going on in that scene there?
So this is actually the Riddler. He's creating his own bionic android Riddler.
Interesting.
That's almost like a Brainiac type.
And he's friends with Bruce here.
And he's best friends with Bruce. And
he's best friends. They're best friends.
One of his best friends.
Oh, okay, nice. All right.
So he's trying to figure out a way because Black Mask,
right? He's using right.
Have a chip in them.
And that's how he gets them to do his dirty work.
Yeah, and that's they say like in the chip it says go do this, go over here, go destroy that, go stuff like that. And Batman is trying to figure out where is this signal coming from, where is they originating from, who's pulling the strings.
Freddie says this Batman needs his Robin after getting drunk after winning his 30th career case, and he has to do 500 hours of community service, and he helps him win the District 5 Pee Wee Hockey League. That sounds like a movie of the week.
And then here we get some more backstory and some characterization for Black Mask. We have him. He's meeting with some suits about some money, and it's one of those scenes that you've seen a bunch of times where, he's proving his strength, beating up some big muscle guy, and then ends up, like killing him. So just to prove to the guy that he's making the deal with that, look who you're messing with type of thing.
Yeah, right. Crenshaw says crazy 90s image panels are good for a sweet treat, but sometimes you want storytelling panels to really chew on. Absolutely, Crenshaw. Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. It always depends on the artist. Like if the artist is really good at doing the big, large panels, 2, 3, 4, even a page, then I'm all for it. But yeah, like you, I would like to something to chew on and really digest when I read any kind of comic book. What's going on here?
So this is his mom.
Oh,
She
okay,
is one of the mayoral uh not candidates, but like
a volunteer.
work volunteer for Gordon, who's trying to become mayor in this
Ah,
story.
okay, cool.
And Batman or Alfred is there surveying things. I think in this story he's like getting ready to get called back to MI6,
Okay,
and so it's his like sort of last final dialogue, like a mission log, and then we get left on this cliffhanger, which is actually a pretty good cliffhanger, where Batman is able to make contact with Black Mask through one of the masks that he acquired from one of the goons. And
oh,
Black Mask offers him $3 million. I think it was $3 million. $200 million, so that he can, as long as you stay away from me, you can have the $200 million and think of all the stuff that you could do to save Gotham. And as long as you just stop messing with me, you can take the 200 million. And
interesting.
Batman
Okay.
says, "You have a deal."
Oh, nice. All right. All right.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, that's actually an interesting take
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Again,
And
Scott Snyder is bringing his A game here, and I'm happy that one of my biggest gripes in the modern comic book time that we're living in is that when the first issue comes out, it falls off
yeah,
because it seems to me people just want the first issue just to collect it, but it's like you got to read the damn thing, man. Like you can't just get the first issue and then go, okay, I'm done, I'm good. You got to read the
yeah,
story. And now I'm like, now you got me invested where now I want to go and get my copy of issue 3.
right. Yeah, now you want to read it.
And I want to read it. Yeah, absolutely.
So
So,
issue three,
so issue 3 is worth the pickup.
worth the pickup. And so then now it brings us to the latest issue that's been out, which is issue 4. Now, issue 4 does what seems like always happens with every single thing. It's a guest artist that comes in.
Oh, really?
That's the, yes.
Oh,
Nick Dergata
yeah.
uh is uh co-listed as the story for this issue. So him and Scott Snyder were the story, and
Okay.
Scott Snyder was the writer. Nick didn't do any art in it. Only the new artist is a Gabriel Hernandez Walta.
Okay. How's this stuff?
It's interesting. It's very different than what was. The thing is that like it works thematically because this issue is a backstory issue. So
Okay.
this talks about Batman, how he started to do the Batman, like why he started to become and make all the suit and everything like that.
I see.
Um, so it starts out, the whole issue is narrated
Hey, what's up,
by
Unhinged? Unhinged says that issues 4 guest artist was announced long before issue 3 came out. So okay, so it was already planned. I
okay.
think this artist will have a few fill-ins. Okay, that's fair.
So this issue is basically only narrated by Batman. It's the story basically follows him on trial with Joe Chill, who was, I guess Joe Chill was still the shooter in the
Okay,
school.
right.
And so he's on trial with him, and basically it's showing Batman in his early time uh
Trying to be
in,
Batman.
trying to be Batman. And
Ah, interesting.
basically
Okay.
they use the old looking Batman suit, like kind of like,
Oh yeah, like a little nod to the 1930s Batman.
yeah,
The not Bill Finger, Bob Kane
Gil
Batman.
Kane. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that.
And he also kills in
Oh,
in
interesting.
this section.
Wait, put that art back up. I want to look at this guy's art. You know, it's not that bad.
It's not
It's
bad.
it still kind of looks like Dragoto's work a little bit, which is nice. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm not totally opposed to guest artists as long as they kind of match the main artist's style. Yeah, that's not bad.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it was a different artist.
No, yeah, it was a different artist. Right, right. Unhinged says, I like this artist as well, though. It's a different style. I can see how people would be put off by it, though.
It was a little off-putting when I first opened it up, because I didn't know that it was a different artist until I looked it up after I saw it, and I'm like,
Right,
oh, that's
right.
that's not the same artist.
Right.
And, so it's definitely noticeable, but it works. Like I said, works thematically in the story because it is sort of like a flashback throughout. Yeah, so
Right.
I can get it from that perspective. But to be fair, also we did get flashbacks in all the other issues as well. This one's majority all flashbacks, so I guess that's the reason why. But basically, through this, he realizes that killing these people or going to kill these people isn't really going to solve anything. So he's got to become something different. So he throws away, the gun and the symbol and stuff like that. And that's when he starts bulking up and
Ah,
starts to
okay.
actually start learning the lay of the land. And like all of this is also narrated by Batman. He's as a child, he's building a school project, a bridge. And so it was a little stupid. I gotta tell you, because he was like, the whole story is narrated like because Bruce as a child is making this bridge for school,
Right.
and he's telling his dad about the bridge, and he's like describing what a bridge should be, and then as he's describing what a bridge should be, like strong and stuff like this, and shouldn't be on will, it's cutting to the pictures of Batman, becoming the way he is in the later issues. And it's like re- a kindergarten school project bridge is what you're going to be basing your entire philosophy on of like being a Batman.
So did you find that to be too unbelievable or just too cheesy or what's the
It's just
deal
a
here?
little cheesy.
Oh, a
I
little
mean, like,
cheesy?
yeah, he's like going like talking about these different versions of like the spires and how much it should hold the weight and why the people need a bridge and stuff like that. And it's all supposed to be very double meaning stuff,
Right.
but then it's like you did so much with the double meaning that it's like we're still talking about a bridge here, right? It's like
Okay, that's fair.
yeah. So, he's going off, he's discovering himself, kind of like with the other origins of Batman where,
Right, right.
and it's still intercut with him there's Joe Chill right there.
Okay.
And basically all Batman says as kid in the trial was all like basically saying, I hate you and I don't want nothing to do with you. That's literally all he says. It's just I hate you. I want you to know that I hate you. That's all he says to Joe Chill. So okay.
All right.
And so then, it shows showing him get, more of the technology that he's going to be using in his suits, get more
And working out, right?
swole. And
Getting swole.
getting swole. And then there's the final bridge
Ah,
that looks exactly like a bat. And it's
right.
supposed to be the most technologically advanced bridge that like you drop into the city, and then it can also act as a fortress. And it's like, yeah, it's got guns and stuff on it. It's like it's like some guy was just wanting a tower defense game, and he just like, I'm just gonna put everything into this bridge.
Okay.
And yeah, it even like see, it even has like buzz saws and stuff like that. I'm telling you, it's that ridiculous.
I see.
So
Well, it sounds like you weren't really sold on this issue.
no, not really.
Ah.
This one was the weakest out of all of them. I say
But I will say the art was still pretty good from what what
yeah,
I see.
the art's okay. It ends with him going back at the end to meet Joe Chill.
Ah.
That's um, but in terms of the story and in terms of anything else in terms of the plot from the first 3 issues, this does not advance the plot at all.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So nothing from that
Bold
cliffhanger or
statement
with
there.
him, nothing with him getting with that money and everything like that. The deal is
Oh,
brought up in
right.
this issue. It's
Right. Right.
purely backstory, and that's it. So
So,
for
okay,
me,
is issue 4 worth the pickup?
you could skip it. It really didn't
Ah.
add anything. You can
Mm.
get it. It's not like it's horrible, but in terms of the rest of the stories, you don't need to read it in order to get to the next issue.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. They had such a good thing going in the end of the previous issue. It's what an interesting creative choice there.
Yeah.
Do that. Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's the fact that they had the guest artist. They wanted to save that for Nick DeGrota to draw it.
I assume so,
Yeah,
yes. But then that kind
probably.
of really like puts a wedge in the momentum that they had.
So yeah, I think this was probably a misfire because I know issues like that, like the one you just reviewed, usually are saved for after a storyline where we have
Yeah.
a big reveal or a moment of like growth, character growth, an arc, whatever. Then you have an issue like this. Freddie says, I just got reminded of the meme that says 492 million years on the planet and none of those losers become Batman. It's going to change it to 8 billion broke people on this planet and no one became Batman. Crenshaw says 5-year-old Bruce Wayne and the bridge should be strong and reliable and give you free gummy worms all the time.
Pretty much. Literally, it was almost that ridiculous in the lines in this book. And meanwhile, you have that text over him, like punching a bad guy in the face. Like
Ah,
it's like
I see. I
it's just
see.
it was a weird, dichotomy of the text and the actual, panels that you were, looking at. I didn't care for it. It was still okay enough to like, yeah, if you want to read it, okay, but it does not make me like if this is the first one, this doesn't make me want to pick up more. I guess let's say that.
Okay. So you can skip issue 4 then. It's safe to
Skip
say.
issue 4 if you. I mean, you can read it if you absolutely want to.
I see what you
But
did there.
yeah, but other than that, I'd say you can skip it. Go right to issue 5
Hmm.
from 3
Well,
to 5.
well, like I always say, you can't win them all. But in this instance, with Absolute Batman, so much stock got put into this thing that you have to deliver every issue. And so, the first 3 did for sure. I mean, that last
Yeah,
panel where he takes that deal, it's like, okay, all right, where are we gonna
yeah,
go now? This
we're
is pretty
going.
good.
We're getting into some
It's
cool
you gotta
territory here.
building and building and building, and something's gotta give at some point. So maybe I mean we don't know the internal thing, going ons of DC Comics. So this was probably planned for a reason. Maybe there's a purpose behind this, but
Yeah, from what
this
I've heard,
typically an artist and a guest artist like that is always, like I said, traditionally it's always after a major storyline, so that way the main artist can take a break or
yeah.
recharge and then go back to it as they keep producing their the run. Um,
Which I mean,
so
and that's fine with because like in the Conan the Barbarian, they done something similar
right,
where
right,
they have one artist for the 4-issue story arc, and then they switch where the next 4-issue story arc would be another artist. And while yes, it's a completely different art style, it still worked within the story. Like this artist, it works within the story, but Um,
It just disrupted it
it's in
disrupted the
the
flow.
middle of the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, it is. It's not it because there's only 6 issues for this first story arc, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think this was a I'm gonna call this a misfire. If I
Yeah,
want to put my editorial hat on, I would say this is a misfire. If this was a decision that they made, months before the book came out, okay, that's fine. But um, I feel like you don't ever want to lose momentum when you start it up. And I feel like this. I haven't read it yet, but from what you've told me, it killed the momentum a little bit. It kind of
a
slowed it
little.
down. Yeah, so
Especially
that's
if it's like,
unfortunate.
especially, I mean, like they already said that this isn't going, like this 6 issue series is not going to be the end of
Yeah,
Absolute
yeah. Then it's
Batman.
an ongoing for sure.
Yeah, so it it's fine from that perspective. But if this was just a 6 issue miniseries,
Oh, it would have been a waste of an issue
that
for
would have been a
sure.
way waste of
Yeah,
an issue.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Absolute Batman 1, 2, and 3 worth the pickup. Absolute Batman number 4 not worth the
Yeah,
pickup.
1, 2, and 3, good. 4, you can skip.
Well, there you go. There you go. And all due respect to Mr. Snyder and company, it's just hey, you just got to remember to keep that momentum going. I definitely, think about that when I write my stories. I always think about, I got to keep this going because if I just put it to a halt, I could lose the reader. And that's the key. You don't want to lose the reader. You want to keep them invested throughout
Yeah,
the whole story. So yeah, okay. Well
yeah,
then there
and
you
you
have
guys
it,
got,
guys.
yeah, 4 is it worth the pickups? Reviews. That's the most we've ever done on
Yeah, what's
this
up, Eric?
show.
These guys.
These
These
guys.
guys. um so okay, well, I mean, there you have it. Absolute Batman 1 through 4. It's still good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still I'm sure it'll end strong. I mean, you can't not end strong. Especially when you have such a high profile book like this one.
Hmm.
So okay. I mean, we'll just have to wait for the next one. I'm really looking forward to Rome Eternal that's coming out in the end of this month. I'm
Yeah,
really eager for it. I hope they have it.
yeah.
They go get it.
Like if they have it.
Yeah, if they have it, right? Because we definitely are going to review issue 2
Yes.
and go full on with that one. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it for tonight's show. Uh,
We'll do Reset Protocol at another time once everybody actually gets the books.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't like these new takes, but that's because I hate change. A lot of people. I was telling Kyle about that earlier, Eric, about how most American viewers and readers don't like such a crazy change. They like something that's recognizable, but just change a little bit, and then we're happy
And
for the most part.
I think yeah, this Absolute Universe definitely takes the change way more
Yeah,
than it needs to. With the Ultimate Universe and Marvel and the Spider-Man and stuff like that, it's minor changes. Like especially with Spider-Man, the only real big change with Spider-Man is that he got his powers in his 30s, after he already has a wife and kids.
right, right.
And so that's when he gets his powers. So it's like, and that's pretty much the only change. Everything else and the minor changes here and there. Uncle Ben's still alive and all that stuff. But
I mean, that's kind of huge,
that's a
actually.
pretty big change, yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
But in terms of like, yeah, him getting his powers later on, it does breed a lot more stories that's now opened up because he has now actually a kids and wife and stuff like that. Although they don't really utilize it to the fullest potential because it's mainly just talking heads throughout the whole thing. But with Absolute Batman, they've definitely taken more uh extreme changes with his characters. Still keeping with the theme and the paint job of Batman, but like you said, it could be Axeman with
Yeah.
Batman.
That was Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Axeman. Yeah, no, you're right. And then when you read Ultimate Wolverine, you'll let me, you'll let us know
Yes,
exactly what
I did
they
pick
what they
that one
changed
up.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Hope join us next time for Ultimate Wolverine review down the
Yeah.
line. So yeah, with that said, again, thank you guys for joining us tonight to talk about the Diamond Distribution Chest Axe. That's his name.
Yes. Chest X.
Talking heads like Julius.
Talking heads. Also, remember to like and comment, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot. We're going to try to do more videos more often. We're going to try to keep, the content flowing. So look for some stuff coming out from us. Also follow us on our Instagrams and Twitters and all that stuff right there. But yeah, definitely share the video as well. Watch it on the replay. And and then also remember to always build those experiences and read more comics.
Read more comics, exactly. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we lost David Lynch, and I played a clip from the movie Blue Velvet, which was a weird one, but very mesmerizing at the same time. Like I said, that was what he was really good at. So I'm going to end the show with him again. Not a scene from the movie, but from an interview. It's a 44-second clip, and he hits it right on the head. Even in just 44 seconds. That's the kind of artist he was when he was alive and well and actually working actively as a filmmaker. I'm truly going to miss him. He really was one of a kind. That one of a kind film director who just was able to just always keep your attention when you watch his movies. And you may have not understood it. You may have thought it was weird, or he was weird or off color, but he just always had that way of grabbing you and then pulling you into his world, and you just had to just go with it. Some person says David Lynch probably faked it. He likes endings that aren't clear. Yeah, I mean, that's why I liked him. Some person personally, because sometimes I liked watching movies like that where it ends where you're like, you have no idea, but it leaves you wondering weeks after you watch the movie, and not everyone can do that. And of course, I'm like everyone else. I love action movies. I love straightforward movies where it has a beginning, middle, and end, and the happy ending. But on occasion, I do like to watch those movies where it's like, what the hell am I watching? I don't understand it, but I'm intrigued by it. Intrigued, exactly. He says, I figured out Twin Peaks though. Oh, do tell. I mean, maybe in another show, because okay, we gotta head out. My wife did love Twin Peaks. She was like obsessed with that show, and he also created that show, Kyle. Just FYI.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, a self-aware soap opera. Ooh, there we go. I'm gonna tell my wife that, see if she agrees. She might have a different interpretation of that. But yeah, I'm gonna end the show with this. So again, guys, join us again next Friday, and hopefully nothing dire happens again regarding the comic book industry. But if it does, we'll be here to talk about it, and if not, then we'll still talk comics or movies. And yeah, keep on joining us to talk comics and have a good time and review books. All right.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
But the kind of anger that is just bitter, just like selfish kind of anger, no one wants to be around this kind of person, and the person's poisoning himself. The person can't work so good. That's mind control. Negativity is really mind control. Depression controls the mind now. Can't work. Anger controls the mind. You can't work. Sorrow. Some people hold sorrow for years. And you want to visit them and cheer them up, but it doesn't do anything. Get them the chance to transcend and watch what happens. Sorrow will lift away. They'll be back on the road. But the